Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, Kaliyugada Kalpataru, the fifth delight, Shri Raghavendra Gurusarvabhauma. Chapter 16, the new Jagadguru. The Vidyamata at Kumbakonam was abuzz with festivities. Thousands of devotees and dignitaries had gathered. Among them was Chinna Chavappa, the ruler of Rajamannar Guddi, and younger brother Chavappa, the ruler of Tanjavur, accompanied by his entourage. The occasion for such grandeur was a formal ashrama pradhana, that is, initiation into asceticism, and the appointment of Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu's successor, marking an important event in the tradition of the Madhva lineage. On an elaborate stage, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu and Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu were seated on their respective thrones. Distinguished rulers, including Chinna Chavappa, accompanied their designated seats. Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu addressed the gathering, narrating the significance of the Mahasanstana and his illustrious lineage. He said, "Devotees of Dharma, for generations the custom of appointing successors in this great seat of learning, initiated by Sri Madhvacharya and blessed by Sri Vyasarajuru, has been maintained without interruption. However, during my tenure, I feared that the sacred tradition might face disruption. To prevent any blemish on the reputation of this revered lineage, I resolved to ensure the appointment of my successor in accordance with our time-honored practices. Today, our revered Guru, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, will bestow Ashrama Pradhana upon my successor. You may wonder who this fortunate individual is. Behold, seated beside me is none other than Narayanacharya, a scion of our lineage and grandson of the Chinna Bandari family. A scholar of Nyaya and Sahitya, he is well qualified to adore this Mahasanstana. Under the guidance of our Guru, he will now ascend to this esteemed position." The audience expressed their joy with thunderous applause. To the accompaniment of auspicious music, drums, and conch sounds, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu formally declared Sri Narayanacharya as a successor to Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu on the auspicious day of Chaitra Shukla Chaturdashi in the Yuvanama Samvatsara, that is Shalivana Shaka 1497, that is 1575 CE, Narayanacharya accepted sannyasa ashrama, donning the kashaya robe and carrying the dandas and kamandalus. After offering Pada Puja to both Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu and Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, the newly initiated ascetic stood humbly before them. Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu blessed him with Mantra Mudradharana, Guru Upadesha, and Maha Mantropadesha, along with the teachings on the 64 arts. He then seated the new Jagadguru under Bhadrasana amidst the chanting of auspicious mantras, Vedic hymns, and the joyous proclamations from the assembly. Finally, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu proclaimed the new Jagadguru. Sri Narayanacharya now will be known as Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, officially anointing him as the head of the Sri Madhvacharya Mahasamsthana and transferring all responsibilities to him. The event concluded with grand celebrations, symbolizing the seamless continuation of the great tradition. Then Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu bowed to Sudheendra Tirtharu and said, "Our beloved disciple Sudheendra Tirtharu will become a globally renowned scholar, trumping over opponents in debates, establishing doctrinal truths, conducting teachings, and authoring scriptures, and uplifting disciples and devotees. We will ensure that he elevates the reputation of this great Mahasamsthana across the world." The audience praised the Guru and disciple wholeheartedly. Later, representatives of the Kannada Emperor Sri Rangaraya, along with the leaders from Tanjavur, including Chinna Chavappa, presented offerings to the new Jagadguru. Following this, the scholars, disciples, and devotees of Kumbakonam also offered their respects and gifts to the new Guru. Under the direction of Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, Sudheendra Tirtharu delivered an eloquent sermon, delighting everyone present. In the afternoon, Sudheendra Tirtharu performed the puja of Sri Moolarama, guided by Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu. The gathering was blessed with Tirtha and Prasada, followed by a grand feast for thousands, bringing the program to a joyful conclusion. That evening, after the Deeparadhana, the three ascetics, Surendra Tirtharu, Vijayendra Tirtharu, and Sudheendra Tirtharu, held a private conversation with Timmanna Acharya. During this discussion, Sudheendra Tirtharu inquired about Timmanna Acharya, saying, "I am not familiar with this person. He seems to be held in great affection by both of you. Who is he?" Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu smiled and explained, "This is Timmanna Acharya. He belongs to our lineage, sharing familial ties with both me and our revered senior gurus. He has studied under me and is a scholar par excellence. I hope he will now be an even closer companion and a recipient of your special blessings." Timmanna Acharya prostrated before Sudheendra Tirtharu, who lifted him up affectionately and seated him besides him. Sudheendra Tirtharu said, "You are truly fortunate to be so dear to both gurus. Acharya, we hope that you will dedicate the same affection and commitment to serving this Mahasamsthana." Timmanna Acharya responded with humility, "I will obey the commands of Sri Gurus with utmost reverence." At the same time, Chinna Chavappa Nayaka, who had accompanied the emperor's representatives, bowed to the three Gurus and said, "Gurudeva, Samrat Sri Rangaraya humbly requests the revered Gurus, including the newly anointed Jagadguru, to grace Penukonda with their presence. The emperor wishes to host you and offer his respects and hospitality." Surendra Tirtharu, pleased by the request, responded, "We will certainly visit and accept the emperor's service." With this assurance, the Gurus blessed the representatives with Phalamantrakshate and then retired for the day. Following Sri Rangaraya's invitation, the three Gurus arrived at Penukonda, where they were warmly received with great honors. The emperor offered them a royal welcome and accommodated them in the royal palace. On Shalivana Shaka 1497, Yuva Samvatsara, Ashada Shukla Dwadashi, Monday, that is dated 20/06/1575, Sri Surendra Tirtharu, following the emperor's request, completed the puja, Dwadashi Parayana, and proceeded with the royal procession, accompanied by the disciples and associates, to the temple of Sri Ramadeva, where he was seated on a ceremonial throne. At this moment, Sri Rangaraja, with reverence and accompanied by scholars and advisors, expressed his wish to donate the grand village of Navalur and Ramachandrapura, located in the Tanjavur kingdom. This village was abundant with resources, including 50 fertile fields, houses in the Agrahara, wells, tanks, and gardens. He requested Sri Surendra Tirtharu to accept this offering, bless him, and ensure prosperity for both the Kannada kingdom and himself. Sri Surendra Tirtharu, in his response, said, "Your Majesty, the Guru-disciple relationship between this Mahasamsthana and your Aryavati dynasty has flourished for generations. Your great-grandfather, Sri Ramaraja, 62 years old, donated 9 grand villages and a matha in the Vijayanagar to our lineage. Your elder uncle, Aliya Ramaraja, honored our Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu with a Ratnabhisheka and gifted villages and land. The tradition of magnanimous charity is the hallmark of your dynasty. Your donation of this village brings us immense joy. May Sri Mula Ramachandra bestow all blessings upon you and protect you for a long time." Sri Rangaraja, with devotion and humility, performed a namaskara and formally donated the village of Navaluru or Ramachandrapura to the Guru. He prayed for blessings that would bring honor to his ancestors and prosperity to himself. Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, following the instructions of his Guru, allocated 7 fields for the matha and expressed his wish to donate the remaining 43 fields and houses in the Agrahara to 20 deserving scholars as sustenance. He prepared a list of the 20 qualified, scholarly eligible for his donation and requested the preparations of a copper inscription to formalize the deed. In accordance, court poets composed the donation deed in Sanskrit, and the royal sculptors Guru Paryaya crafted the copper inscriptions. The inscription was ceremoniously presented to the Gurus by Sri Rangaraja. Among the scholars who received this donation was notable disciple of Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, including Timmanna Acharya, son of Kanakachala Acharya from the Gautama Gotra, Yajurveda Shaka, and Timmarasa. Belonging to the Kashyapa Gotra and Yajurveda Shaka, these scholars played significant roles in sustaining the legacy and traditions of the Mahasanstana. Sri Rangaraja, with great reverence, honored the trio of revered saints, Sri Surendra Tirtharu, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, and Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu. He offered a golden throne to Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu and presented items symbolic of Jagadguru status to Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, including a white parasol, fans, pearl garlands, and yellow robes. After staying in the royal capital for 4 days and accepting the king's hospitality and offerings, the saints continued their journey. Departing from Penukonda, the trio travelled to Srirangam, where they offered prayers to the deity and then proceeded to Rameshwaram, completing their pilgrimage. From there, they visited Madurai, where Kumara Krishnapanayaka, the reigning king, welcomed his guru Sri Surendra Tirtharu and the disciples with great honor. The king arranged accommodation and offerings for them, considering it his privilege to serve. After 97 years of tireless service, 3 arduous pan-Indian journeys, ascetic practices, and unbroken spiritual activities, Sri Surendra Tirtharu had become frail. Upon reaching Madurai, his heart began to decline. Both Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu and Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, with utmost devotion and care, rendered service and medical attention to their Guru. On Pushya Shukla Ekadashi, in the Shalivana Shaka 1497, that is dated 1712-1575 approximately, during the evening after performing the Sri Moolarama Puja with great enthusiasm and observing night vigil, Sri Surendra Tirtharu entered deep meditation on Lord Hari. As the Dwadashi Tithi began, he uttered Narayana, Narayana in divine remembrance of the Lord. The Japamala slipped from his hands, and the saintly figure merged with the divine at the age of 97. Hearing the news that the revered Guru had passed away, those nearby rushed to inform Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu and Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu. Upon learning of their Guru's departure, both saints were plunged into profound grief. Their sorrow at losing such a great and noble Guru was immeasurable. Remembering his virtues and greatness, they shed tears in reverence and sorrow. Eventually, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu composed himself and consoled his disciple Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu. They organized the Vrindavana Pratishtapana ceremony of Sri Surendra Tirtharu. After completing the Mahasamsthana Puja, they installed the deity Sri Moolarama on the Vrindavana and performed a grand Kanakabhisheka, offering oblations with reverence. They lit the Mangalarti and concluded the ritual. With folded hands, they circumambulated the Vrindavana 3 times, chanting, "Hail to the revered ascetic Sri Surendra Tirtharu, who brought great glory and fulfillment through his spiritual pursuits." Composing a final benedictory verse, the revered saints bowed in reverence to Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, following which a grand Brahmin worship ceremony was conducted, including lavish feasts and the distribution of generous charity offerings. In the honor of their Guru, Mahasamaradhana, a scholarly assembly, that is Vidvat Sabha, was convened, during which Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu honored scholars and students with gifts and recognition. Everyone admired and celebrated the Guru's profound devotion to his predecessors. A few days later, a representative of the Kannada Emperor, Sri Rangaraja, arrived, conveying the emperor's deep sorrow upon learning of the senior Guru's passing. The representative informed them that as a part of the emperor's Vardanti festival, a grand event would take place at the Vijayavitala temple in Hampi. The emperor had requested the revered saints to present over the Vidvasubha, and bestow their blessings. Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, due to his responsibilities overseeing the construction of the Vrindavana of his Guru, decided to remain in Madurai. He delegated the task to Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, who was accompanied by scholars, including Timmanna Acharya and the junior Matha. Shri Sudheendra Tirtharu departed with his entourage and reached Hampi on Magha Krishna Ekadashi. They stayed near the Vrindavana of Sri Raghunandan Tirtharu, where they performed Ekadashi and Dwadashi rituals with devotion. Subsequently, representatives of the emperor, along with scholars and citizens, ceremoniously escorted the saints in a golden palanquin to the Shri Vijayavittala temple amidst royal grandeur. At the temple entrance, Sri Rangaraja welcomed the saints and led them to the assembly hall, requesting them to preside over the Vidvatsabha and overseeing its proceedings. The assembly began with various competitions and events, including improvised poetry, discussions on poetry, dharma, and aesthetics, and debates in Nyaya, that is logic, and Vedanta. Over several days, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu and his disciples participated in debates with scholars, showcasing their unparalleled command over the scriptures. Among the notable participants who won acclaim were Ramachandra Acharya, a relative of Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, and Timmanna Acharya, who received widespread admiration for their intellectual brilliance. In addition, musicians, instrumentalists, and dancers showcased their exceptional talent. By the Guru's instruction, Timmanna Acharya performed a Veena recital, demonstrating his profound expertise, leaving everyone in awe. His exceptional command over all arts and scriptures impressed Sri Rangaraja, who developed immense respect and admiration for him. At the closing ceremony of the Vidvasabha, Timmanna Acharya trumped over the court scholars in a debate, further enhancing the honor and prestige of the Mahasamsthana. Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, in turn, delivered a profound benediction in both Sanskrit and Kannada, captivating and earning the respect of all present. The event concluded with widespread acclaim for the Guru and his disciples. On the following day, Shalivana Shaka 1497, in the Yavana Samvatsara and Magha Krishna Trayodashi, a Saturday coinciding with Shivaratri, in the presence of Sri Virupaksha Swami, Emperor Sri Rangaraja, accompanied by the Queen, ministers, commanders, and royal entourage, made a ceremonial pledge. Following this, the royal priest recited a copper-plated inscription formalizing the donation of 5 villages: Bachanahalli, Kayada, Yadavala, Chanchala, and Arihalli to the Krishna deity. The emperor then offered wealth, gold, clothes, and ornaments to Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, prostrated before him and expressed his gratitude. Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu lauded the emperor's generosity, devotion, and reverence for the Acharya Mahasamsthana and bestowed blessings, including Phalamantrakshata, before returning to the Matha. That evening, a royal darbar was held as part of the Vardanti celebrations for the emperor. During the darbar, Timmanna Acharya's profound knowledge, radiant intellect, and exceptional Veena playing skills deeply impressed Sri Rangaraja, who conferred upon him the extraordinary honor of Hagalu Devatike, that is, daylight lamp, symbolizing his unmatched brilliance. The honor included a pair of ceremonial shawls, a pearl necklace, and golden bracelets, which are presented to him in a grand ceremony. In this way, Timmanna Acharya earned fame by defeating the court scholars of the Kannada Empire in debates and receiving the title Hagalu Devatike from Sri Rangaraja. This title, with its poetic metaphor, highlighted Timmanna Acharya as a daylight lamp, dispelling the darkness of ignorance caused by adversaries' arguments. The Raghavendra Vijaya text narrates that Timmanna Acharya received this honor to showcase the defeat and lack of credibility of his opponents. The Kannada sovereign Sri Rangaraja generously rewarded all the scholars, poets, and artists who participated in the Vidwasabha as instructed by its president Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu. After the celebrations, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu performed Hastodaka offerings at the Vrindavana of Sri Padmanabha, Narahari, Jayatirtha, Kavindra, Vagisha Tirtha, and Sri Vyasaraja Tirtharu before departing from Kumbhakonam. After a few days after Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu returned to Kumbhakonam, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu arrived from Madurai. Hearing of his dear disciple Timmanna Acharya's recognition as Hagalu Devatike by the emperor and his remarkable accomplishments, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu was overjoyed and praised his disciple's achievements with immense affection. Timmanna Acharya, along with his wife, expressed a desire to stay in Kaveri Pattanam for some time. Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, understanding their wish, advised them to first stay for a few days in the newly gifted village of Ramachandrapura Agrahara and later move to Kaveri Pattanam. The Acharya couple was provided with all necessary arrangements and conveniences for their moves. Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, along with his disciples, blessed the couple and sent them to the Ramachandrapura Agrahara. In Ramachandrapura Agrahara, Acharya Timmanna and his wife Gopikamba Devi led a virtuous and peaceful life, conducting themselves in integrity, teaching and delivering discourses, and gaining respect and admiration from everyone. Meanwhile, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, to uphold his commitment to his Guru, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, began teaching his beloved disciple Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu in the sixth philosophy, that is Saddarshana, Shad Darshanas, and other Shastras. Although Sudheendra Tirtharu was already proficient in Nyaya, that is logic, and Mimamsa, under the guidance of Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, he mastered advanced texts in Dvaita philosophy, Nyaya, and Vedanta. Notable texts like Chandrika, Nyayamrita, Tarkatandava, authored by Sri Vyasaraja Tirtharu, were taught, along with many of Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu's 104 works. Throughout this training, Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu became a renowned scholar, recognized for his extraordinary intellect and debating skills. One day, Chavappa Nayaka, the ruler of Tanjavur, accompanied by his son Raghunatha Nayaka, visited Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu in Kumbhakonam. He expressed his gratitude for the earlier blessings from Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, which had resulted in the birth of his grandson, Raghunatha Nayaka. As a token of gratitude and for the prosperity of his grandson, Chavappa Nayaka donated 4 villages, Kotturu, Gulluru, Palla, and Raghavakatte, to Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu. Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu used one of these villages, Kotturu, to grant sustenance, that is vrittis, to several distinguished scholars. He then smiled at Chavappa Nayaka and said, "O King, your service to our institution is exceptional. We have desired to train someone from your lineage into a great scholar. Your grandson, Raghunatha, is destined for this honor. He shall study under Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu and become a distinguished scholar and poet." Chavappa Nayaka, overjoyed, prostrated before the Guru and entrusted his grandson to Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, requesting his blessings and education. Sri Sudheendra Tirtharu, with a gentle smile, placed his hand on Raghunatha's head, blessed him, and draped him with his own shawl, declaring that he would grow to be a great scholar. Later, Chavappa Nayaka also informed Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu that the village of Aravimangalam, also known as Achyutappa Samudra, had been developed into an agrahara with 60 vrittis distributed among 23 pandits. He conveyed that Kannada Emperor Sri Rangaraja had also approved the arrangement and sent a copper inscription endorsing the donation. The villages and houses were all ready for the scholars, who could be assigned their properties whenever required. In due course, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu personally visited Achyutappa Samudra, distributed the houses and vrittis to the 23 pandits, and blessed them before returning to Kumbakonam. Hari Om. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.